Looks like it's time to make a splash, Tom remarked. Kate eyed the sheer drop below, her gaze drawn to the deep jade color of the pool so close to the hue of his hazel eyes. That's quite a fall, she commented. It'll be a piece of cake, Tom replied, though his posture exposed his uncertainty. His face twisted slightly, eyebrows arching, and an unmistakable escaped him. He let his hands drop to his hips. We just leap into the river, then, he lifted one hand, fingers fluttering, we swim. And if there are rocks beneath us, then it's our final dip. Charming, Kate muttered, her stomach turning at the image of shattered limbs and spattered blood. I'm not exactly eager to dive in. Placing a hand on her shoulder, Tom offered a strained smile. Poor choice of words, I know. Look, I'll go first. Once I'm in the clear, I'll signal. If I make it, you jump the same way. Deal. You know, Tom, I won't let you try it first like some test subject. Nice to know I'm not expendable, he said with a warm smile. Kate wasn't sure how to take the comment. Pride held her back, but the gentle smile she gave echoed a truth she wasn't ready to say aloud. She did care, she just wasn't ready to show it. We have to go, Tom stated firmly. And I'm taking the lead. Kate exhaled hard, knowing resistance was pointless. All right, no cold feet, he said, pointing out. This is our only shot. Let's get it over with, nearly tea time back home. Tom moved closer to the edge and paused, then unexpectedly turned back, gently gripped Kate's arms and kissed her forehead without a word. Then he stepped off the ledge and dropped into the river, vanishing over the fall. Kate watched him tumble, limbs flailing, but moments before impact, he extended his body, arms tight to his sides, and pierced the water's surface. Her breath caught as she leaned forward. Her heart pounded. Where had he gone? In time, he resurfaced, lifting his head above the pool and shouted, "Come on down, it's perfect." When Kate stood stiffly, he called again, "Stop stalling." "Tally-ho," she called back, her smile trembling. Then she jumped. The current pulled her under, only to unleash her as she plunged over the drop. She hurtled downward like a stone, lungs compressed, legs kicking in panic. She managed to cross her arms and clutch herself tightly. Her scream ended as she slapped into the pool below. The jolt was painful. A real bloody Kate went under, then began kicking up. As she rose, she spotted Tom swimming toward her. He reached out, gripping her face with both hands. "Are you okay?" he asked with a grin that seemed as oversized as Texas itself. "Absolutely peachy," she replied. He laughed full and hearty. "Nice to know I'm your entertainment. Don't be ridiculous, you're alive." Again, "Indeed I am." Together, they swam about 50 feet to shore. Tom lay next to Kate, stretching his limbs before rolling onto his back, folding his hands behind his head. He had a talent for finding ease anywhere, whether resting on a rock in Texas beside a grazing horse or now atop sharp mountain pebbles in the Amazon. Kate, however, felt every stone pressing into her spine. She was soaked, shivering, and far from comfortable. Meanwhile, Tom stayed. Well, Tom, that candor, that unapologetic authenticity was precisely what drew her to him. "What's with that look you're giving me?" he asked. He said with a smirk, the corners of his mouth lifting slightly as his upper teeth became visible. He shifted onto one elbow, turning to face Kate. "Come here," she requested. "What?" "There's something I need to say." Tom leaned closer, stopping just inches from her face. Kate bridged the remaining gap and kissed him, her lips gliding smoothly against his. Memories surged through her of times when embracing him felt like home. For a fleeting instant, a flash of their old love rekindled. When she finally pulled away, she asked, "Why did you make me initiate the kiss?" "That was your idea. Anyway, I saw it in a movie." "So what now?" "A movie," he replied, watching her face for recognition. You know where you buy a ticket and sit and watch a big screen? Yes, I know what a movie is, she said with a light pat on his arm. All I can say is it worked. She shook her head and bit her lip briefly. Hey, not to switch gears, but we need to check out the pool. That water up there's got to be going somewhere. It isn't flowing past the banks, which means it must be draining underground. Only one way to be certain. Makes sense. Good thinking. While you look into that, I'll dry off. I've had enough wet for today. Kate pushed herself off the ground and stood beside him. Tom took a few steps away, then turned back. This time, I'll be the one going out on a limb. He leaned in and kissed her again, their lips locking firmly, before stepping into the water and vanishing beneath the surface. Kate released a heavy breath, aware that she had a decision to make. Her stomach twisted with unease, the feeling rising in her throat and tightening her breathing. She held onto a secret Tom didn't know, and he wouldn't like it. He might even see it as betrayal, but deep down, Kate believed it was the right course. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a waterproof case holding a satellite smartphone. Scrolling through the saved contacts, she selected a number. The line rang endlessly before being picked up by a rough-sounding voice. Miss Lockhart, I've been waiting for your call. Listen, Benson, we've come across something, not the gold, but possibly a lead. Start talking. Not until I hear from Savannah. Your daughter's fine. Now, what have you discovered? I need to be sure she's safe. Kate's chest tightened, and before she could stop herself, the words spilled out. Please, let me speak to her. She caught muffled voices on the other end, Benson speaking to someone nearby. Then a sweet, familiar voice spoke. Mum. Where are you? Savannah, are you okay? I miss you terribly, my loves. I can't wait to hold you again. Benson interjected, cutting the moment short. That's all for now. Whatever you've got, it better be worth it. If you want your daughter back, alive. As the current reached the opposite bank of the pool, it slowed to a soft ripple, spilling onto the edge like a miniature surf. The shallows gradually inclined before dropping off sharply, eventually plunging to a depth of about 50 feet. While Kate dried herself off on the shore, Tom executed several free dives to survey the bottom. With each repeated attempt, he managed to descend even deeper, consistently reaching at least the halfway point. Surfacing after the first dive, he caught sight of Kate walking away. He figured maybe she needed to pee or had something else that might take a while. Whatever the reason, he chuckled, shrugging it off, not his concern. On this dive, he went deeper still, narrowing the gap to within 15 feet of the floor, where the view became murky with stirred-up sediment drifting beneath him. Turning his focus toward the shore, Tom examined the drop-off near the bank. The emerald green water remained clear enough for him to distinguish the sloping shelf, extending down another 30 or 40 feet. As he swam closer, he noticed the base of the wall shimmered darker. Curious, he edged in and the contours revealed themselves. It was a cave mouth large enough to accommodate a semi-truck. As Tom approached, a new certainty dawned on him. The surrounding current intensified. Swimming required almost no effort. That's when his instincts screamed in warning. Not only was it easy to move, something was drawing him in. He was being sucked toward the opening. Kicking like an Olympic athlete, Tom thrashed the water with his arms. Every muscle fought the invisible pull. A horrifying thought struck, he might not make it out. The realization gave him a surge of adrenaline, igniting a wild eruption of strokes and writhing in resistance. It seemed he had just barely skimmed the edge of the hidden waterway because, with a final desperate whip of his legs, he broke free from the suction and rose toward the light above. He now grasped the river's true path. It originated at the waterfall, swept across the pool through a concealed channel at the bottom, and flowed directly into the gaping cave. From there, he assumed, it continued underground, perhaps even on to Atahualpa's legendary gold chamber. But reaching the treasure was another problem altogether. He breached the surface, lungs burning for air. Drained, he floated in place, limbs slack from the effort. Kate had returned, perched again on the bank. Whatever she'd needed to do was done. Most rational people wouldn't dream of diving back into what amounted to a death trap, but Tom considered it. The only thoughts in his mind were of his daughter and the gold. Tom was startled awake by the sound of branches snapping, scraping, and bouncing off something far off. Above the jungle floor, high within the trees, limbs cracked under the force of an object slicing through the thick canopy. Half asleep, he briefly questioned whether he was dreaming, but soon ruled that out as he took in his surroundings. Kate was beside him, still asleep. A few feet away, the fire's embers shimmered red-hot. The sky remained dark, untouched by morning light. Suddenly, a thunderous thud rang out. He bolted upright. A plane engine hummed faintly overhead, fading as the aircraft distanced itself. What was that? Kate sat up, glancing around groggily. No idea, Tom replied, a man he hadn't crossed paths with in 5 years. The same man he was meant to meet at the cafe in Bono's. A longtime friend and former associate, Eddie Nash. Things just got a bit messier.